Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
The Curse of La Llorona, The Conjuring 2, and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Let's banish some demons.
The Curse of La Llorona. In Mexico, in 1673, two young boys play hide and seek with their parents. One boy goes to look for his family when he stumbles across his mother drowning his brother in the river. Then she chases after him and kills him too. It's now 1973 in Los Angeles, where caseworker Ana Garcia is sent to check on a woman, Patricia, and her children. When Anna enters the home, she finds the mother terrified, with her two children locked away in a closet. The mother tells Anna to step away from the closet and attacks her, but a police officer steps in to take the mother away. Anna unlocks the closet, but when she opens the door, the two children tell her to close the door. Otherwise, she'll hurt them. Anna reassures the boys that they are safe and takes them to a place where they can stay. Later that night, Anna gets a call from the cops about the boys' bodies being pulled from the river.
That's tough.
That is messed up. Like, I'll take you somewhere safe. Winds up dead.
Right? But Patricia had it under control. Why'd you gotta mess with her system? Since she's a single mom, Anna brings her young son and daughter with her to the crime scene, but leaves them in the car. Dude.
What kind of... I'm sorry. I know you are a single mom, but they can stay home.
Yeah. Like that boy seemed old enough to, know to keep the doors locked and not answer the door to strangers.
Yeah. Instead of taking your children to a crime scene.
Yeah. Anyway, the mother of the two boys screams at Anna, saying their death is her fault, also blaming La Llorona. Anna's son, Chris, sneaks out of the car to get a closer look of the scene when he hears crying coming from a back alley. A woman in white comes out of the shadows, marks his arm, and disappears. Later, at a ceremony for the boys who died, Father Perez, who we saw in Annabelle, speaks with Anna about La Llorona, the weeping woman, and tells her the history. After discovering her husband with another woman, La Llorona murdered their kids and then herself, cursed to roam the earth, searching for children to take her kids' place. That's so sad.
Yeah. Because it's, she regretted it, but it was too late at that point.
Yeah.
Yep. One night, while everyone is sleeping, Anna hears a strange noise in the house and goes to investigate. Wrong choice.
Yeah.
Just go back to sleep.
Yeah. What?
Just go back to sleep, because if you heard it, no, you didn't. If you saw it, no, you didn't.
Yeah, but then maybe her kids would have been
fine.
Well, at that point, she just thinks it's somebody breaking in.
I know, but still, it's just...
Anyway.
Yeah. When she sees La Llorona in her kid's room, the figure vanishes, but Anna stays awake all night to protect her kids. Then goes to visit Patricia in jail the next day to ask more about La Llorona. Patricia says that she prayed for La Llorona to take Anna's kids and swap their lives for the lives of her sons. Also fucked.
Yeah.
I get it. I get you're pissed, but maybe don't call upon a creature that was already attacking you to go after some other woman and her children.
That's real messed up. She was sitting there I prayed and I prayed, but not to God like you think. I prayed to the thing that killed my children? Okay.
I prayed to the thing that killed my children.
Yeah.
Because technically it's your fault they got killed.
Yeah. But it's not.
But also,
La Llorona's.
I sent her on you and your children.
Yeah.
A little twisted there.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying things begin to happen as Chris is pushed down the stairs and ends up at the doctor's. Child Protective Services now get involved, thinking that Anna is the one who is hurting her kids. Anna's daughter, Samantha, is taking a bath when La Llorona appears and holds her under the water. Anna and Chris come to Samantha's rescue, but La Llorona comes from the tub and attacks Anna. Scared, the family goes to see Father Perez, who tells them the story of Annabelle, also saying he believes their story.
Yeah. I mean, after experiencing Annabelle, I think you'd believe anything.
Yeah. Facts. 100% facts.
Man got flung.
He got flung. For real.
Cracked his head.
For real.
That's tough.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead.
Father Perez sends the family to a man named Raphael, who used to be a priest, now a faith healer shaman. Raphael agrees to help the family, putting protection around the house and ready to banish La Llorona's spirit. The children hide in the closet as Anna and Raphael prepare for the weeping woman to come for them. Yes, because putting the children in the closet saved them the last time.
Yep.
Sure. Well, maybe it would have. We don't know.
Exactly.
A woman in white crosses the border into the house when we hear the kids scream for help. It is Patricia, who tries to take the kids from the house, but is stopped by Anna and Raphael. Patricia breaks the protective border, allowing La Llorona into the house. La Llorona pushes Anna into the basement and locks the door, while the kids sneak up to the attic. Hiding is no use, as La Llorona finds the children and tries to take them. Patricia comes to her senses and lets Anna out of the basement so she can save her kids, along with Raphael. They rush to the attic, where Anna stabs La Llorona with a cross, killing her for good. The next day, the family thanks Raphael for protecting them. Everyone is safe, and all is well.
The end. Okay, but did he actually save them?
No, he didn't.
No, he put some shit up and then this bitch came in and fucked everything. So,
Yeah.
like, his protection was not really sufficient, but, like, go for it.
I mean, he gave them the courage I guess they needed to fight against her.
Yeah.
But that was such an anticlimactic ending.
For real.
It's like, oh, they go to the attic?
Oh, it's a different mother who's pissed at you who came for your kids.
Yeah.
Great.
They went to the attic. Anna followed them. Anna stabs La Llorona.
Boom.
And it's done.
And technically, it's like, it's not even that, like, La Llorona is quote, quote, finger quote, dead. It's more so she's banished back to whence she came with no objective.
Exactly. Banish some demons.
Hell yeah. So this movie was released April 19th, 2019. The director is Michael Chavez. It came in Spanish and English. It was distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. Produced by James Wan, Gary Doberman, and Emil Gladstone. And I have their box office.
I have their budget.
So what was their budget?
Their budget was only $9 million.
Wow.
So pretty short, pretty small.
Because their box office was $123.1 million.
Yeah, which is the least amount for all of the Conjuring movies, but not a lot of people really knew that it was
a part of the Conjuring universe.
So, yeah.
Because I think, because the only connective tissue for it was Father Perez. Fully.
Yes. Yeah.
That was like really the only character who was a connective piece.
And he talked about Annabelle. Yeah. That's pretty much it. But yeah. It feels like 2019 was still 3 years ago, not 5 now.
Yeah.
5
that was
years ago. I watched this movie in theaters.
Long ago. Holy shit.
I remember it well. I watched it right after I had taken one of my AP exams. I was real stressed that day. Real stressed.
Damn. It was so long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's a shorter movie. It's only 94 minutes, so hour and a half.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Honestly, it could have been shorter.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
there were some things that weren't really necessary, but I get you need to
Context
fill some time out.
and add some things.
Yeah, I feel like they could have done more with the context.
I feel like they could have done more with
like her actual history and showing more of that. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 28% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's not a bad film. It's just there could have been more. There could have been more.
And honestly, I saw some people commenting about how it's supposed to be, you know, a Hispanic story, and it's kind of whitewashed a little bit. And I'm going to have to agree with that a little bit.
Yeah.
I will. It's, you know.
Thank God I found some, like, positive notes. Jesus.
Yeah.
More neutral notes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we have our cast.
Oh, yeah. My bad. I'm trying to skip over them. My bad, Linda.
Yeah.
Cardellini, who played Anna Garcia. We have Janie Lynn Kinchin as Samantha Garcia, so the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Cristal as Chris Garcia, the son. We have Marisol Ramirez, who played La Llorona. She's gorgeous,
Marisol.
by the way. Marisol.
Love it.
Yes. Raymond Cruz as Rafael Olvera, and then Tony Amendola as Father Perez.
Yep. Classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll kick us off.
Faux show.
So obviously, this is technically an original story that brings the Weeping Woman
Yes.
to life in 1973 Los Angeles.
1937?
I know, right? It would have been a way different film.
Yeah.
Way different film.
Yes.
Actually, that would have been a really cool one.
It's
a more like set in an older,
a
little older time
That'd be
instead
really
of
cool.
less modern.
Yeah. But the thing is, I couldn't even really tell that this movie was very 70s. Like, whereas Annabelle Creation, you could really tell because, like, their costumes and, like, how much thought
and
they put into that.
They did.
Did they?
They did. They
I
put
didn't really notice
some effort into it and everything.
Mhm.
But you know, there's level of limitation just
Yeah.
based on time.
True. And budget, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it was lower budget.
Yeah, and I mean, because their entire thing was shot on practical location in and around Los Angeles.
Yeah. That's cool.
Because they actually were able to find their house in the city in West Adams district.
Yeah.
And a number of the key interiors and exterior sets were also constructed at a multi-purpose space that was nearby. So obviously this film is based on the beliefs and traditions of Spanish culture.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a level of, like, in the spirit, they didn't want to, like, take too many chances on the film set.
Ah, I see.
So before cameras rolled, the filmmakers brought in a priest and a curandero to kick off production with some spiritual protection of their own.
Okay.
I probably butchered the shit out of that. I am so sorry. So following the priest's blessing, the curandero performed limpia cleansing ceremony where they used the smoke from burning sage to remove negative energy from the set
Yummy.
and everyone in it.
Yeah.
Love sage.
Yes.
And it was kind of funny because Michael Chavez was like, it was his first limpia, and it turned out to be quite humbling. And everyone felt really great from it because it was this, like, profound meditative moment that affected everybody that was on the set.
Wow.
And pervading senses that the house was haunted may have helped as well.
Yeah.
So the house in question that they got, totes haunted.
Really?
Totes haunted.
Okay.
Because, so the owner believed that there was something there. And by the end of the shoot, pretty much the whole crew was convinced of it. They were convinced.
Wow. So do you have, like, the history of the house? Like, when it was built?
There wasn't really much on the house itself. More about just, like, more about what happened while they were on set. So they had some weird occurrences where they were hearing people whispering, things moving around.
Nope. Bye.
Oh, yeah. And even though he would be like, Chavez would be the first one to say these things couldn't be real.
Oh? Is he now a skeptic?
He was also one of the first ones to be like, I think something's there.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. Non-believer turn
Oh, yeah.
skeptic or believer.
Because they were on set and something happened.
Give me some spooky ghost stories.
And just some weird like sounds and stuff happened. And one of the people that's on the set that was standing next to him just turns to him and says, "We're not alone."
Ew.
And then he laughs.
Ew.
He just was like, "We're not alone."
Yikes.
I'm like, no, thank you.
I would be so freaked out for the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah.
And for the rest of the shoot, honestly. What you mean we're not alone?
What do you mean by that?
You better mean by the cast and crew. That's what you better mean.
That's what you better mean. So, before there were horror movies, the currency of fear of the world over was folklore.
Yes.
Classic. It's lore and
tale as old as time.
Tales and all that kind of stuff. What modern era would call like creepypastas, cryptids.
Yes.
Different stories like that. So the best tales usually obviously are the ones that endure the most time. And few have retained their power to scare like La Llorona did. So La Llorona is a tale that generations of families have shared with their children. And the power of the legacy was Michael Chavez wanted to use that as his like true north. This is where we're going. This is what I want to make sure is brought to the people.
Yeah.
To focus on that. Because as they were preparing the movie, they wanted to talk to as many people who grew up hearing the story.
Yeah.
And even some of the grandmothers who told it to them as kids, they found out that it was kind of fascinating because it was never told the same way twice.
Oh.
The more people that they talked to, the more nuanced and varied they heard.
That's what happens when you play a giant game of telephone, basically.
Exactly.
That's what folklore is, like,
and
passing it down.
Exactly, because there was a real sense of like wonder and terror in every telling of it.
Wow.
Because he came away and was enamored and was really appreciative of their openness in basically taking him into this story.
Yeah.
And really wanted to honor that in making the film. So there's a bit of special effects that were going on specifically with the La Llorona character. There was actually like, she referred to it as like the ritual, because it was a 3-hour application.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah. Because it's a combination of it's a 3-hour application and removal process of makeup, teeth, hands, hair extensions, gel, water, and then the contact lenses.
Yeah.
And what was funny is the contact lenses was an integral part of it.
Yeah, when I think about this movie's like
her
version
eyes
of her, like her eyes
are what
definitely
your focus
the main
is.
part.
And she said, she was like, this is an experience. That it was part of the experience for her. Because it was intense and thrilling and incredibly evocative. Obviously, she has a very distinct visual.
Yeah.
And it was actually really funny because she was talking about how on one of the shoot days, on her first day, they were filming in a largely Latino neighborhood in LA. And it was Halloween. So the kids were out trick-or-treating.
That's cute.
And she was like, I remember I came out of my trailer in full costume.
Oh, gosh.
Just as this little kid got away from his mother and began to cross the street. There was a car coming, so I jumped and grabbed him.
Oh, my gosh.
Before he could get hurt.
But I bet that scared the shit out of him.
Everyone gasped and stopped dead in their tracks. Some of the kids screamed, and the boy's mom yelled out, La Llorona.
Yo! Oh, that's iconic. That's classic.
It's like, it's a normal woman, and she's like jumping out to save this boy's life. But it's like, you are also actively in the garb of one of their child snatching legends.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And you just,
as that mom in that second,
oh my god, my kid's gonna get taken.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, my kid's
that moment
done. That's it. In that split second, she's like, well, that
the car should have taken him.
Oh,
should have taken him.
Oh,
Like, it's crazy.
Oh, that's dark.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is, and I thought that was so funny because I'm like, you know, because for her, it was once she got into character, it was, everyone was like, oh, when she's out of character, she's really sweet and nice and everything's fantastic. And then like she gets into character and she's like creepy. And, you know, I thought that was really fun that there was that like embodiment aspect to the character and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
what you got for me?
not a whole lot, to be honest. It's not, I just have like where this lore may have come from, and there's evidence that it goes back to the colonial era, between the Spanish conquistadors and the indigenous women of, you know, early Central America.
Yeah.
So basically, La Llorona is one of these indigenous women who, I'm not sure what their relationship was, but basically she had kids with one of the Spaniards, and she murdered her kids with him after he abandoned her. That's basically what it was.
So she murdered her kids because of him abandoning her?
Yeah, that's what that was. He was very wealthy. I don't have a lot of information on him. There's not really a whole lot. People think that it's connected to Doña Marina, also known as I'm not even going to say that, actually, just kidding. La Malinche, which basically, she's a woman from the Mexican Gulf Coast who contributed to the conquest of the Aztec Empire, from the Spanish, back in the 1500s.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, she was an interpreter and an advisor for the Spanish conquistador Hernan Cortez, which
Cortez,
crazy, yeah.
I feel like I recognize that story now that you're saying her name and saying all of that. Like, I remember something about that. Yeah, she was one of 20 enslaved women given to the Spaniards by the natives of Tabasco. Cortez chose her specifically as a consort, and then she gave birth to their son. Gotcha.
One of the first people of European and indigenous American, descent. One of the first of both. Yeah.
Before she ganked him.
Yep, before she ganked him. So, because she's connected to Aztec mythological stories, she's known as the Hungry Woman as well. Which
I've
is
heard that name.
A wailing woman who constantly cries for food. So that is connected to La Llorona, since she's the wailing woman. Another one is La Llorona's also been compared to something called, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, Chihuahua the Aztec goddess deity of motherhood. Because La Llorona seeks children to keep for herself, that's why she's compared. Our Lady Mother or Tonantzin, who is also comparable to the Virgin de Guadalupe, who is also another significant mother figure in Mexican culture. Also, a monster that devours filth or sin.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, lots of different comparisons to different things within the culture.
Yeah.
A couple different origins, but it all goes down to it's an indigenous woman who had children with a Spanish man.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot there. I didn't find a whole lot. That was pretty much what it was.
So you got some 1 stars?
I do. I have a couple.
Go for it.
I really wanted to like this movie, but it was easily the weakest film in the Conjuring universe. And that includes the first Annabelle.
Is this your own review?
No. I like the first Annabelle.
Oh, true.
Convoluted, predictable, and just a woefully weak script. The acting wasn't bad, but you can't ask actors to create miracles. I honestly felt like breaking out my phone to find anything more entertaining. I added this one because it mentions how bad the first Annabelle was, and then I just wanted to be like, okay, well, the first Annabelle was good, so you're wrong.
You just don't like the last Annabelle.
No,
That's the one you don't like.
Correct.
As clearly revealed in the last episode.
Yeah, I got a little harsh there. That's my bad. I just want to say, if you really like that movie, then you really like that movie. And that's okay. That is your opinion. We just will have differing ones. I'm looking at you.
Yes, because I actually do kind of like that movie.
And that's okay. That's okay. Like, I understand why people who like it would.
Yeah.
It's just personally, I'm good.
It is at the bottom of your list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
is understandable.
Not a fan. But it's okay. Yeah. That's fine. Everybody's going to have different opinions on different movies.
Yeah, and I can kind of agree that like we were talking, there could have been more for this movie.
Yeah.
There could have been more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Which goes to my next one. Worst movie ever. I'm so disappointed. This movie is so whitewashed. La Llorona may be frightening, but it's of Spanish origin. If you're going to make a movie based on something all Hispanics know, you should have had a Hispanic director. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I looked it up.
You mean Michael Chavez?
Yeah. You mean Michael Chavez?
Who?
I mean, he was born and raised in America, but he still comes from a Hispanic family.
Yeah. So he also grew up listening to this story.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, was it a little bit whitewash? Maybe. But so is Michael Chavez because he grew up in America.
Yeah.
So
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. I want to know why they chose to do La Llorona and like what made them like add this to the universe. I mean, it's nice that they wanted to be inclusive with, Hispanic stories
and I agree with that
culture.
But it also, like, if you took this movie out of the lineup, nothing would change.
No, not at all.
Like, it
doesn't further the plot. It just kind of
impact on the rest of them.
But I think it's more so they wanted to like
be inclusive.
They wanted to be inclusive, and in order for it to get a little bit more traction was to incorporate it into the Conjuring universe. Like, even if it doesn't further the plot,
like, I feel like it could have been easily another Conjuring, or it could have been another, I don't know, and something else that would maybe, because I know that there are machinations for a fourth Conjuring film.
Yes.
So I feel like maybe there could have been something, but
yeah. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely not my favorite movie in all of the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it definitely could have done more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with $9 million budget, what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really small budget.
Yes. Compared to the whopping $32 million that Annabelle Comes Home had.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
And that was also your least favorite one, and it had more of a budget.
Yeah. $32 million for my least favorite film and $9 million for this one, which I actually enjoyed.
I feel like if it had gotten
I just wanted more
of that, I feel like they could have done
for sure.
a lot more.
For sure. What they did
was
good.
Would have also been cool if it could have still been called The Curse of La Llorona, but maybe followed the process of La Llorona becoming in existence.
Yeah, like doing that, like diving more into the history, sharing that culture.
Because it's like
maybe showing how prominent she is in Spanish culture.
Because it's the same situation like the Annabelle creation. It's the idea of an origin story.
Yeah. Yes. For sure.
Would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could have given them a good extra half hour.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You do what you can with what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not bad. So, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So that means we are on to the next movie, which is The Conjuring 2. In Amityville, 1976... Ed and Lorraine Warren go to confirm the activity reported by the family that was living there. In a trance, she is brought to the basement where she sees a vision of Ed's death, caused by Valak.
She's back!
I know, right? Now in England in 1977, the Hodgson family, a single mom and her 4 children, live in a very dank apartment.
I know that a lot of people nowadays in my generation...
Dank.
Yes.
Dope. It's a great ass house.
Yeah.
No, dank as
No,
in like
dank,
it is
dark,
old,
gross, drippy,
and wet.
Yeah, nasty.
As you will see later on.
And it only gets worse.
I know it does. One of the daughters, Janet, plays with a makeshift Ouija board.
First mistake.
First fucking mistake.
Like, first of all, makeshift? Babe, you're trying to get possessed.
I'm trying to get possessed.
You're trying.
And yeah. And invites her sister Margaret to play. You just are trying to bring other people into this.
Now. Yeah.
Swear. A little while later, after messing with the board, Janet goes down to the living room to see one of the chairs rocking by itself.
To clarify, this is like a few days later.
Yeah.
Or even weeks, I don't know.
Yeah. Timelines in movies.
Yeah. It's not the same night, though.
Yeah. She runs back up to her room to hide, but the spirit bites Janet and begins to shake the beds around, waking Margaret up as well.
Because the sisters share a room, you know, in their dank apartment.
In their dank-ass apartment.
Or sorry, wouldn't it be called?
They're flat.
They're flat. Yes, thank you.
They're dank-ass flat. Correction.
Because we're in London.
In London.
In their flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. My accent isn't very good right now.
Because you are grody.
I'm dank up in here.
You are dank.
Okay.
Their mom, Peggy, goes to investigate, trying to see if someone has broken in. She finds the Ouija board, thinking they're just scaring each other.
Just silly old kids.
I know, right? But then the dresser moves straight across the room by itself. The whole family runs to the neighbor's house for safety and waits for the police. When the police arrive, they all see a chair move by itself and tells the Hodgsons there's nothing they can do. They'll stand by an incident report and that they can go to the church.
Wow, that's so helpful.
So fucking helpful.
Back at the Warrens' house, Valak appears in a vision that Lorraine has, giving her another warning about Ed's death as Lorraine scratches something madly into her Bible. She
Who just casually fucking just sits and reads the Bible. I guess I'm just not that religious. I'm not religious. So for me, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, well, these movies are pretty, you know,
Yeah.
religious heavy.
Yeah.
Like, even the Parent family, like, they were really religious, but the movie made it seem like they were these godless people. Like, never been baptized, don't go to church.
It's
when their father wanted to be a priest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also just, you know, why is it always that it's the Christian people who are most cursed and haunted? I'm like, anyway.
But that's the point
on.
they're trying to make in the movie, that, it's not the Christian people who get cursed, it's the people who don't believe in God.
Except for all of these are very religious people.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway.
That's fine. You know, pagan for the win.
Hell yeah.
If you believe in Mother Nature, no demons can get you.
Yep.
I guess. I don't know how it works. I've never been got by a demon. Have you?
Nope.
All right, then. That's all the proof I need.
Yep. We're starting some wars here.
I'm totally kidding, guys. I'm joking. Obviously, you know, your faith is your faith. Respect. In England, the paranormal activity at the Hodgson residence has skyrocketed and now has attention from the media. Because of this, the Warrens are shown a tape recording of Janet sounding very hoarse and not like herself, claiming she is Bill Wilkins, a 72-year-old man. Mental institution. I just had a bubble of snot out of my nose when I said that.
You are just grody right now.
I'm really gross. Anyway, Lorraine, hesitant to go because of her visions of Ed's death, reluctantly agrees to go to London to help the Hodgsons prove that their place is haunted. I'm sorry. If I'm having visions of my husband's death repeatedly and I get a feeling it's, gonna come from this trip.
Maybe not.
I maybe wouldn't.
Maybe no.
Because it's all speculation. Like, at this point, many people think that this whole thing is a hoax.
Yeah.
But I guess they're just so nice. They're the nicest people in the world,
It's them.
Yeah. Anywho. When the Warrens arrive in London, we see that Janet and her mom have been staying at their apartment alone, while the rest of the family is still staying with the neighbors. Along with many people being skeptical of the situation, Lorraine doesn't sense any presence within the house and says she can't see anything past their own fear. The Warrens buckle down and set up their ghost hunting equipment, along with helping fix some of the things around the house, because they're just that effing nice.
Yeah. It's Christmas time, and the entire Hodgson family decides to celebrate in their own home. All of the adults are busy while Janet and her brother Johnny disappear. Suddenly, an unseen force begins to destroy everything in the kitchen. And when the group tries to find Janet, sorry. Crossing the streams.
Yeah, we're crossing movies now.
Trying to find oh my God, I almost did it again. Trying to find Janet, she is contorted in a closet, speaking in tongues, sounding like the old man. Everyone is shaken up, but a skeptic named Anita comes in to show a video of Janet faking the kitchen incident, throwing and breaking things all by herself.
No ghosties here.
Yeah. This causes everyone to drop the case and Ed and Lorraine Warren to go home. Knowing the church won't believe anything after that video, the Hodgson family is confused and asks Janet why she faked it, to which she responds that it would have killed her family if she didn't make them leave.
Which is crazy.
That's terrifying.
That scene, I was like, chills.
That's terrifying.
Chills. Yeah.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead.
While on the train, about to head home, Ed and Lorraine play 2 different tape recordings of Janet at the same time, getting the message, "Help me, it won't let me go." Ugh.
I hate that.
Cringe. After hearing the message, Lorraine immediately gets another vision, this time of the old man, where he tells her that the way to fix everything is through a name. When the nun-like demon jumps out, Lorraine snaps out of it and realizes that the old man is just being used as a pawn in a bigger plan to hurt Janet, and gets everyone back together at the flat. The demon has pushed everyone out of the house except Janet, and Ed breaks in through the basement without Lorraine. Dumbass.
Very dumb.
Here, let me just barge in here, Like, my wife's having premonitions of my death, and she told me about it, and I'm just gonna march in here when there's a demon.
Yep.
It's fine.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Lorraine realizes that knowing the demon's name gives her power over it, and that she wrote it down. After finding Valak written in her Bible, Lorraine finds a way into the house as well. Ed makes it up to one of the second-floor rooms, where the window shatters and Janet goes to step out onto the sharp, broken tree stump below.
Ugh, skewer.
Ed catches her, but only just barely, as he holds onto the curtain. They are both about to fall when Lorraine comes into the room to help, but the demon stops her. Lorraine calls Valak by their name, giving her dominion over the demon, and sends it back to hell, saving Janet and Ed. Everyone is safe, and the Warrens are so in love. The end.
Yeah, I had to add that.
You had to add that.
I had to. Because they are. At least in the film version.
Yeah.
I want to love like that, man. Because, like, in the movie, like, they speak to Janet one-on-one. And both times they both tell her the same story about, like, how nobody understood them. And, everyone thought that they were crazy, but then they found somebody who believed in them. And then what'd they do? They married them.
Yeah.
That was so cute. I'm sorry. That's just like, oh, I'm alone.
So this movie was released June 10th, 2016.
That's crazy.
Directed by James Wan. Distributed by Warner Bros.
We love you, James Wan.
What was their budget?
Hefty 40 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that works out because their box office was $321.8 million.
It feels like in most of these movies that they're hitting the 300 range. So they're doing very well for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a longer movie. It's almost 2.5 hours with 134-minute runtime. And it did very good on Rotten Tomatoes with an 80%.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not bad for Rotten Tomatoes.
That's quite good.
Yeah. We have our main actors, Vera Farmiga, who played Lorraine Warren, Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren. I wrote Ed Wilson. W's, man. Madison Wolfe as Janet Hodgson, Bonnie Aarons reprising her role as the nun, Frances O'Connor as Peggy, and then Lauren Esposito as Margaret.
And I also have, although we did not mention it
Is
in
it Maurice?
the show description, but Javier Botet as the Crooked Man.
Oh, shit.
Because we didn't mention
I didn't add him.
the Crooked Man at all
No.
into the story.
It was already getting pretty long.
Yeah.
But let's tell the story a little second.
Yeah.
One of the sons, Billy, he has a speech impediment, and he's so cute. They use this Crooked Man
Like story. It's like
like a light a
it's
light
a
up
show
turn box
where it's got pictures, and when it turns on and it spins, it animates the images.
Yeah, the image of the Crooked Man, and like he sings along to it to help with the speech impediment.
Yeah.
And this thing it has it out for Billy.
Yeah.
It's Valak, but it's another
Under the
version
disguise, yeah.
of Valak. Instead of just posing as the nun,
Yeah.
also the Crooked Man.
Yeah.
And it just really has it out for Billy. Attacking
And it's a really
him.
cool character design.
Oh yeah, attacking him in his tent and then turning into a dog. Like
Was a dog and turns the fucking
no, because
cracking
that
and
was
breaking
awful,
out of the
awful.
dog
because
shape.
it was a dog, but then it was the Crooked Man, but then it was Janet the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
Fucking wild.
ugh.
Also, we didn't get to mention it just because of obviously of our format right now, but the room that she was in that end scene was filled with crosses
Yes.
on the wall, and they all go turning upside down.
That wasn't even in the end scene. That was like
That was just
so basically it was like the first night that Ed and Lorraine were in the house.
Yeah.
And she goes sleepwalking again.
Yes.
They had locked
yes.
that room up because that's where most of the activity
Yeah,
was.
and she just kind of like appears
She
in there.
goes downstairs and she ends up on the ceiling of the living room,
It's fucking
which
wild.
is where that room is. And then she somehow goes through the
like
ceiling
phases
into
through the
floor.
fucking
Yeah.
ceiling.
And then she ends up in that room and just
She like
gets
comes
attacked.
back to consciousness and is like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and she's like screaming. They're all trying to get her out.
Yeah,
and
because they like when we say they locked it, they fucking like bolted that bitch
Yeah.
with like a chain.
there
And
was
shit.
a whole chain, deadbolt. Yeah, there's no way she could have gotten in there by herself.
Yeah.
And then when they finally get it open, like all the crosses are back to normal, except one is like kind of like
It had just
adjusted
settled.
itself back to normal.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Ed kind of caught it.
Oh
but
yeah.
it wild, crazy. This movie, nuts.
Has a lot of stuff in it.
One of my top favorites, I think. It's because it's a dank flat. Are you kidding? It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
And like the
Especially the
basement is all
basement.
fucking
Because
flooded and
that
shit.
was one thing that, Ed tried to fix was their basement because their washing machine like sprung a leak and just flooded the
Their
entire basement.
Yeah.
So there was a scene where
Which is why he was able to get up and through the crawl space
Yeah.
between the floor
and
and into the house.
Yeah.
When it was all, sealed off.
oof, just creepy. Because
Oh, yeah.
personally, if you're trying to get back into a house and you go through the basement and the basement is flooded and you're trying to save somebody from a demon, I would
Yeah.
not want to go be in
Yeah.
waist
Yeah.
high water
Hell no.
in a basement.
Especially goopy waist high water.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously this film was set in 1977.
Yes.
And it follows the investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. And this time to Enfield, England.
Yes.
So
drop some knowledge.
Exactly. I found some interesting stuff in regards to the sounds that they were doing, specifically that of the Crooked Man and some of the the auditory sounds that were going on when he was active, especially in the major scene in question. He basically wanted the sound to have bone crunching,
Ew,
crackling,
yeah,
and wood crackling elements into it.
that's disgusting.
And Zubin and Formosa recordist Charlie Campana recorded wood cracking sounds, frozen fruit crunches,
Oh,
and
yummy.
even almonds to make some of the sounds.
He sounds delicious.
Yeah. And because they explored all kinds of things to give it an interesting quality. Yeah, because the end demon doesn't have any dialogue.
No, it just kind of smiles and
Exactly.
kills people or attempts
So
to.
they actually performed vocalizations into a dehumanizer, a vocal processor by Krotos. And basically everything you perform into a dehumanizer just sounds enormous and instantly otherworldly.
Yeah.
And it gives
Hence the name.
Yeah, it gives us this massive demonic feeling. So they gave those tracks to the sound editor Staubley, who layered them with various animal vocalizations to craft the demon's sound. In addition to ADR breathing for the actress Wolf, obviously, for her moments when she was being possessed. The layers were sourced from multiple pre-recorded tracks of actor Robin Atkins Downs, who voiced Old Man Bill.
That's so much layering, like stacking on top of each other. Like, that's so cool.
They used Elastic Pitch, a real-time pitch shifting plugin by Z-Plane, to alter the inflection of the selected layers on the fly, because
it's so cool because it transitions from
the
dog into the rhyme from the old man in this like crooked man style, and then you hear her in the end.
It's even the situation of him in the chair.
Yeah,
the chair scene.
Yeah,
is a big part of this.
Yeah, because it starts off as her, and then it swaps into the old man, and then back into her.
Exactly, because they used Elastic Pitch quite a bit when Old Bill was speaking through Janet.
Yeah,
they dialed it in just until they had a pitch and tone that felt like it emotionally matched the scene. So the Elastic Pitch was fantastic because they could enhance the performance as they went along. Yeah. Because they tried to do stuff where it was like multiple voices speaking at one time, and it didn't look right, and it didn't feel right when they were doing it, so they ended up going with this method instead, and I think it worked out
really well.
Yeah.
James Wan, man, direct all the movies, all of them.
So, yeah. And then obviously like the atmosphere of the film was the weapon of choice specifically for this one because
the dang flat.
Oh yeah, the dang flat.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely adds so much to the creep factor.
Yeah, because it's like
it's so small and dark and there's nowhere to run.
And even just like the interactions as they ramp up. They let, obviously things like seemingly harmless things like the toy truck scene where it's just like rolls down the hallway. Where it escalates in severity until they culminate in a suffocating dread.
Yeah.
So the scenes play out to torturous and exhausted lengths. And the combined use of chiaroscuro lighting, which...
Pardon?
I was quite excited when I found this being used as a word, because this is in photography, we use this. It has a lot to do with shadows. So you're working with lights and shadow. So they used it a lot in this film. And always moving the camera, showcasing a Hitchcockian panache.
Oh, yeah. I would agree to that.
It helps to raise that suspense. Hitchcock was Hitchcock. He is classic in regards to
Even if you haven't
that.
seen his movies, you
know
probably
who
heard
he
his
is.
name.
Yeah. And because it's like you never know what might be lurking in the dark is the big thing.
Yeah.
Because your perception's limited to only what they choose to show you in the movie.
Yeah.
And obviously Juan knows that. And he the scariest things is to let their imagination take control. If you let the imagination take control,
Yeah.
that's where it goes. Because and also to like not cut away when you can just keep ratcheting up the unease. He's again not above going for the occasional jump scare
Yeah.
payoff, but they were
It's more
executed in
the
a
tension and the
exactly. And even in those instances they were done with such a finesse to them that they didn't feel cheap. They were still like that more fresh, innovative instead of something that they were expecting. Like we were talking about with the that whole crooked man dog thing scene was wild. So
yeah.
oh, and what was something wild is that so because the crooked man was actually played by an individual, like none of the scenes with the crooked man are CGI. None of them are CGI.
Pardon?
Like, you know the scene where he's like walking and there's that jilted stuff?
That's an actor?
That's the actual actor. So what they did is it was actually shot in slow-mo with Botet walking backwards.
Oh.
Then they sped it up in editing and reversed it.
Wow.
So it was
so cool.
that like, you know, all that jilting and stuff was the actual actor.
Oh, that's so
there was
cool.
the crooked man was not a CGI character.
That's so epic. I love that.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because he is a imposing figure.
I love the crooked man. He scares the shit out of me.
It's
more
why
than like obviously it is Valak, but it scares me way more than the nun like vision of them.
Yes. It's kind of funny because last Halloween time Target got some good like action figure collectible things.
Yeah.
And so I got
I know, he's
the
so
crooked
cool.
man.
I also love Ace of Clay. He sculpted the crooked man and it looks so good. It's just he's so interesting with like his glasses on top of his hat.
Yes.
Like that's where his eyes are.
But it's also interesting because what's really cool about having the little action figure dude is obviously there's different face plates to give different expressions and different hand positions and stuff. And what's fun is it has the toy in it.
Oh yeah.
But what's interesting is that there is actually eyes underneath the hat that are just two black dots.
Yeah.
Just two black holes. And the hat sits over top of them, and that's why the glasses are there. And it's just it's an interesting interpretation of the crooked man, and I really like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's got this like dark whimsy to it.
Yes, I think that's why I love it so much.
And I think that's why it's
totally
so much fun.
my vibe. That's totally what I love.
Because even what's really fun is when I look at him in the box, his whole because he's the crooked man.
Yeah.
The figure actually like its body is kind of offset, so it's like hips and stuff sit in a weird position, and I was like, that's awesome. I think that's just really cool. But
yeah.
So what you got for me?
I have the real story of what happened to the Hodgsons.
Yes, because it is real events.
Yes,
like, this is based on true events.
Yeah, anything that involves the Warrens usually is some form of based on true events.
And I've heard the audio. I've heard some crazy shit from this original stuff.
Yes. So
that shit is unsettling.
Like they actually recorded her.
Those tapes of that were referenced in the movie are legit.
Yeah, the ones where she's speaking like an old man, like and
saying that
she's Bill Wilkins. Like they're actual tapes. Like you can listen to them, and they're so. I watched a little documentary on like the actual family. And just listening to that real recording was just haunting.
Whereas for me, it's like the way I got to it was like Chilluminati,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Also Last Podcast on the Left.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it is. Whew, it is creepy to listen to. It is very creepy.
Mm-hmm. So, like the Perrin family, the Hodgson family had no idea what was happening to them. So, the night that Peggy went into Margaret and Janet's room to see what was going on, and the dresser moved on its own in front of the door, that is something that they say actually happened.
Yes.
And that they did flee their home that night to go to their neighbors, and the police did see a chair move across the room.
Yes.
And again, there was nothing the police could do because, you know, what do you do about a chair moving across the room?
What do you do about, as a police officer, a paranormal event occurring?
In front of you.
What do you do?
Apparently, in the movie, they make it seem like all of this happened in a really short amount of time, but these hauntings for the Hodgsons lasted a year and a half.
A very
18
long
months.
time.
Yeah, 18 months. Because it was happening so long, they finally were fed up, and they didn't, like, it got to the point where they didn't want to be in the house alone anymore.
Yeah.
And they finally went to a publication called the Daily Mirror so that these people could investigate their home, which is what basically gave the Hodgsons their platform and what made it go viral.
So that it would become to the attention of the Warrens. Yeah.
Yes. There was a photographer, like in the movie. The movie said that there was one guy who got hit by a Lego. Yeah. That just was flying around the room and hit him in the face. That was true, supposedly. Hard enough that it left a mark for a few days.
Wow.
Yeah. So eventually the Daily Mirror sent a man named Morris Gross to investigate. He was a part of the Daily Mirror. He witnessed so much activity while staying at the Hodgson house. He said he saw furniture moving on its own, fires that started, and even heard a lot of voices in the house while he was there.
Yeah.
Janet noted a specific incident where she said it was the most terrifying when she was sleeping and a curtain next to her bed wrapped itself around her neck.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
That's absolutely not. So, eventually, because it gained so much traction, lots of paranormal researchers wanted to get involved, and this included Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They weren't as involved in the case as the movie made it seem, but they definitely were. They definitely confirmed that the hauntings that the Hodgson family went through were real.
Yes. They were what helped solidify all of that.
Yeah. And again, like I said, the video of Janet speaking in a deep, scratchy voice and then claimed to be the previous owner of the house, Bill Wilkins.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he had died in their living room from a hemorrhage, so he was haunting the house. Even while this was going on, obviously, there was a lot of people who were skeptical about everything that was happening, but Janet and her siblings admitted to faking some of the events.
Yes, I do remember hearing about that.
But they said it was just to see if the investigators were really up to the task.
If they would catch that some of them were fake.
Were fake, yes. They said once or twice they faked it to see if anybody would catch them, and apparently every time they did fake it, they were always caught.
Good. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Including the instance of the spoon bending in the kitchen.
Yeah.
They caught that. But even to this day, the Hodgsons stick to their story that a lot of these events were real. The only thing that was made up for the movie was obviously Valak, the demon.
Yes. And that had more to do with the fact that they incorporated the Warrens into the story. Therefore, it's already a through line from other stuff.
Yeah. So obviously Valak is also the Crooked Man, which I have the history of the Crooked Man.
Yeah, go for it.
So this rhyme was first recorded in print by James Orchard Halliwell in 1842. And it goes like this. There was a crooked man and he went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse. And they all lived together in a little crooked house. So, it gained popularity in the early 20th century. There are a couple places where they say it might come from. One legend is that it originated from a wool merchant's village of Lavenham. And so the rhyme was inspired by the town.
Yeah.
Because it has lots of multicolored, half-timbered houses that lean at irregular angles.
Yeah.
As if they're kind of supporting each other, like they lean on each other.
Yeah.
And there is one Lavenham house in particular. It is called the Crooked House, and it's often, said that is the true inspiration for the rhyme.
Yes.
And then there's a second source that says it originates from British history, specifically during the rule of the Scottish Stuart King Charles I of England during the 1600s. The Crooked Man is said to be a Scottish general by the name of Sir Alexander Leslie. He signed a covenant securing religious and political freedom for Scotland, and the crooked style that's in the poem is said to represent the alliance between England and Scotland, or the border between the two areas of land. So saying they all live together in a little crooked house refers to how the England and the Scots finally came to an agreement, even though they continued to have disputes between each other, but they had to live with each other because they share a border.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple places where it originates. Who knows where it really comes from?
Yeah.
But it's creepy as hell. So
yeah, the Crooked Man
you.
is definitely an interesting story.
Yes.
There is a separate movie that is called The Crooked Man that I want to watch,
which we absolutely should.
Yeah, because there was talk of there being a spin-off.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think it got canceled, or
I'm
at
not
least
sure.
It's like,
or it's on the back
shelved
burner
right now. It's shelved right now. It's not.
I mean, there's been a lot happening within the past 5 years since,
Yes.
Well, this movie came out 8 years ago, but I mean, I don't know when they started the idea for this, but obviously the pandemic and then the strikes, and it's
exactly. A lot of things have all kind of
a lot of things that might have kind of been shelved.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So you got some 1 stars?
I do. The ones for La Llorona, honestly, were not. I like funny 1-star reviews, but sometimes I can't find those. But I want to give you guys something.
Yeah.
But for this, great. In all caps, it was too ghetto. The girl is possessed and there is a demon and it's based off a true story. No, ma'am. Y'all can be scared at night. Not me, though. Good luck. Stay safe out there.
I like that one.
I love it. I love it.
That's good.
I mean, it is pretty ghetto. They're in a dang flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
can be scared, not me though.
Yeah, a lot of people said that one of the reasons why they could have made all this up was that Peggy was tired of living in that area and she wanted an excuse to get money from people so that she could move out and not have to be in that house. Obviously, she's a single mother with 4 children.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Especially when your husband's an asshole.
Yeah.
And abandon you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Peggy. I'm not sure, but even though they claim that she was only doing this to get money and attention so that she can move, I'm pretty sure Peggy stayed in the house for her whole life until she died.
Yeah.
In the exact spot that the old man did.
Yes, I do remember hearing about that. Yes.
So why would she make it all up if she ended up not even moving?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. What?
There's another one that said, very, with an A, very bad film. The ghost looked like my grandmother. That's rude as shit.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Damn. Well, shit.
Yeah. The next one is, I got haunted after watching this movie. Never again. That's why you gave it a 1 star?
Fucking elaborate. How did you get haunted, my dude?
I want a story now.
Give me more information.
More info, please. There's a bunch here. I have another one that says, I hated how the dog turned into something scary. It made me cry. Where did Baron go? Where is he? Is he okay? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I have snackies for him. Valid.
Unfortunately, probably not.
He's probably dead.
Y'all.
I mean, in the first Conjuring film, it took nothing to take that dog out.
Nothing.
Like, the first night they were
It
there.
was gone.
Immediate. Didn't even step
Gone.
foot inside the house.
Nope.
And was...
It refused
God.
to go inside the house and just vanished
Yeah.
off the earth.
I have one more for this movie.
Go for it. Go for it.
It's really funny. It's so mean.
It's so mean. Okay, go for it.
It's not mean, but it's like, dude, too many British people. In quotes. Less British people would have made it actually watchable. What? What do you mean?
It's set in England. What?
It's the quotes on people.
People.
Too many British people.
What?
What do you mean?
Why do you have quotations around people? What did you want them to be? British animals? What? What did you want from that?
Less British people would have made it watchable.
Okay.
All right.
Even though it's set in England, you know.
I feel like I don't want to do 1-star reviews unless they're funny. I just don't. Like, these are so good.
Those are so good. I can't believe you found those.
I know. These are incredible.
Oh,
these are the
swear.
1-star reviews I love. I like funny ones. I don't like people bashing on things. I like people who are kind of fucking around in the 1-star area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very bad film. Ghosts look like my grandmother. Fair enough. Was she a nun?
I know, right?
Probably not if that's your grandmother.
Yeah.
I mean, she clearly had some kids.
For real.
Anyway. But yeah, that was that movie. I really like that movie. I love that movie. It was a good movie,
yeah.
I've seen
it's a really
it
good movie.
so many times. I love Love, and I love Ed and Lorraine.
In the film.
In the film.
We always have to,
clarify that. In the film.
In the film.
They're great.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho.
So that means we are moving on to The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
It is 1981 in Brookfield, Connecticut, and the Warrens are assisting in the exorcism of an 8-year-old boy, David Glatzel. Things get out of hand as objects fly and crash around the room, and David jumps Ed, saying, "I'll stop your heart, old man." And then he has a heart attack.
Yeah, for real. He literally stops his heart.
Like, damn. Then a guy named Arnie pulls David off and tells the demon to take him instead. Nice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Great. Sigh. Then everything goes quiet as Lorraine calls 911 so that Ed can go to the hospital. Man is knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Arnie begins to have strange visions, and one day, while at work, he starts to not feel so good. Ed wakes up in the hospital and warns Lorraine that Arnie took the spirit into himself because apparently no one else saw this man
Except for
Ed take the demon.
Yeah. Yep.
Where was everybody else? I must know.
Clearly around the fucking corner.
Anyway. Arnie is not himself, sweating profusely and seeing strange things when he sees his boss turn into a monster, causing him to attack. Arnie is arrested after stabbing his boss 22 times. The Warrens visit Arnie in jail to see if he really is possessed, but don't find any sign. The Warrens still tell Arnie to claim possession in court as they take investigative matters into their own hands. That's crazy.
Dude's only hope.
Yeah. Is
Prove
saying
I
that
was
he was
possessed, please.
Yes.
So, such a wild concept that it's like, you can just claim possession in court.
Right.
As a defense.
This is the first time it was ever done, successfully.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I guess it's nice to have the Warrens in your corner, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah?
The Warrens decide to search the Glatzel home for any clues. Lorraine decides to check underneath the house and finds a witch's totem used by Satanists to cause temporary possession until Arnie took a life. Father Gordon, who helped with David's exorcism, sent the Warrens to a retired priest, Mr. Kastner, who has done a lot of research on the disciples of the Ram.
Disgusting. That already sounds awful.
Oh yeah. Mr. Kastner tells the Warrens that he has seen many totems like the one found under the Glatzel house and shows them an artifact room of his own with items from many Satanist rituals.
Lorraine was way too scared to go down there. I would never.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
She was hesitant. She's like, I don't want to go down there, Ed.
Yeah,
okay, babe, don't.
It's full of literally satanic objects.
Yeah.
A homicide detective in a different town reaches out about a picture of the occultist totem that Lorraine found, saying that it relates to a homicide case they have been working on for months to a dead end. The detective takes the Warrens out to the spot where they found the body, and Lorraine gets a vision of what happened the night of the murder. A girl lured her best friend into the woods. Was it best friend or girlfriend?
I think
it was a girlfriend.
It seemed like it was girlfriend, but it was like
because
it was talking about the three, so it was like the child, the friends, and then the lovers. So I don't know.
I think they were together.
They really made it seem a little gay.
Yeah.
There was a little homosexuality tension going on there.
Yeah.
I felt it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. A girl lured her best friend into the woods.
Maybe.
Killed her. And then threw herself off a cliff.
The way she put that bracelet around her wrist seemed a little more than friends.
I thought that, like, I don't know. I thought they were in a relationship.
Because it was like, it seemed that way, but when they were speaking about, like, the curse itself, it was like she needed a child. It was like a child situation.
Yeah.
Friends and then lovers.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah. The police drag the quarry for the third time and finally find the body of the other girl who killed her best friend, then herself.
Later, Debbie, David's sister, also Arnie's girlfriend,
yes,
calls the Warrens freaked out, saying that the evil has followed Arnie. The Warrens tell Debbie to call the jail and put Arnie under suicide watch. Lorraine confesses that she's been having visions of the person that might be responsible for the totems, and the couple heads to the morgue to test the connection.
The worst possible scene.
They find the body of the girl who was pulled from the quarry, and Lorraine grabs her soppy, bloated, decomposing hand.
So fucking gross.
Disgusting.
So fucking gross and slimy.
To hear the squelch when she, like,
just
grabs her hand.
Slimy texture.
Nasty. Lorraine feels the connection and begins to see through the eyes of the occultist responsible for the murder-suicides. She sees an altar with black candles, then realizes that the occultist is reaching out to Arnie in an attempt to complete his curse. Lorraine reaches out to stop the occultist and begins to speak with her, realizing the connection goes both ways and that the occultist now knows who they are. With more research, the Warrens discover that they can break the curse by destroying the altar.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. Ed passes out and wakes up in a trance, holding a knife to Lorraine, about to attack.
That's your wife, bro.
I know. Ed realizes that the occultist has put a totem in their house, putting the curse on the couple. Lorraine goes back to Mr. Kastner's house to translate a passage in a book to help break the curse. Meanwhile, Ed discovers that the occultist lives in the area after it is revealed that all of the totems from each case were found close to each other.
Like in a triangle.
Yeah. Based on clues from Lorraine's vision at the morgue, Ed also figures out that the occultist is located at Kastner's house and goes to rescue his wife. Kastner reveals to Lorraine that his daughter is the occultist and sends her through a secret passage that leads to tunnels underground and to the altar.
Craziest plot twist.
Yeah.
Was wild. I was a little confused how Kastner had to deal with any of this, and then I found that out and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. And then this part, probably arguably one of the more scary parts.
Yeah.
The occultist appears and kills her father, then goes after Lorraine. At the jail, Arnie is taken over by the evil in an attempt to kill himself. Ed shows up at Kastner's house and goes down into the tunnels after hearing Lorraine calling out for him. The occultist finds him first, putting him under a trance. Ed grabs a hammer and goes after Lorraine to complete the murder-suicide ritual. Right before he swings down, Lorraine uses their love to bring him back, and Ed smashes the altar right behind Lorraine instead. Somehow he chased her down, and that's where she ended up.
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. Destroying it and the curse. Arnie is ripped out of his trance back at the jail, and all goes quiet. The occultist goes to confront the Warrens, but is instead brutally killed by the very demon she summoned, as she failed to provide a soul like she promised. All is well. Arnie is only charged with 5 years in prison, and Ed builds Lorraine a gazebo in honor of the first night they met. Love to love.
The end.
They're so in love it hurts.
It's going to be interesting to see whatever they do with the 4th film.
Yes.
In the
Watch it be
series.
like, oh, this is how he dies. This is how he gets got. I don't know.
I have no clue what they could do with it, to be
I don't know,
honest. Alrighty, so this movie was released June 4th, 2021.
Yeah.
Director is Michael Chavez.
Mhm.
Distributed by Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Pictures. And it was edited by Peter Givozdas and Christian Wagner.
Sure.
What was their budget?
Their budget was $39 million.
Mm-hmm.
So, not bad.
Their box office was $206.4 million.
Which is really sad because it's not as good as all the rest. However,
Yeah.
this did kind of come out in a time when theater was struggling because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was 2021, so not a lot of people. I mean, I saw it in theaters. I love watching in theaters because it was like very last minute we decided to watch it, and it was like pouring down rain.
Yeah.
And we were like, I didn't want to drive in that because it was really bad.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolutely horrendous. Like, people were saying, like, or the news, my phone was saying, be careful on the road.
Yeah, because of how bad
like
the
giving
water was,
warnings. So I was like, I don't really want to drive that far. So we just parked ourselves, watched the movie. It was terrifying. We were wet. We were cold. Watching a horror movie. No blanket. No banky to protect me.
Nope.
So it was so bad because obviously it had been a couple years. I think this was the first movie I'd seen in theaters in a very long time because of everything.
Because of, the pandemic and everything.
So I was reacting like very viscerally, and the guy next to me was like, can you shh? And I felt so bad. I was like, ooh, yeah, you're right. Theater etiquette. And we all know how important I feel that is. But after you haven't been in one for a long time, you know, it took me once going back to be like, oh shit,
Clearly, and also our more recent interactions in theaters, especially the boogeyman.
Yes.
And us realizing and like all these motherfuckers, you know.
Yeah.
I swear.
It's not that long of a movie. It's 112, so it's just shy of 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which is still fairly long.
Yeah.
But it
doesn't feel it. It doesn't feel like that.
No.
The pacing of the movie is actually really good.
Yeah.
There's no like overt downtime.
Mm-mm.
You know, there's no like moments where you're like, did we really need this?
Yeah,
or
no.
there's no like, oh my God, it's going too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really good.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. But unfortunately, it only got 55% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is surprising. But that might be, again, a lot of movies that came out during pandemic time that were straight to streaming services very quickly after, because when you went to go see the movie, that was when like towards the mid to end of 2021 the world was trying to reopen itself.
It really was.
So very
like,
limited, but still trying.
I wrote a whole paper on it of how badly the pandemic has affected the movie industry and theaters and streaming services. Like, there was a whole bunch of lawsuits between actors and you know, their companies because they expected their film to be in theaters for longer, and it just kind of swapped over to streaming services
or
faster than they intended, or just went straight to streaming, and that it was a whole issue. Like, because the pandemic obviously made people feel more comfortable in their homes, so why go out and watch a movie when you can just pop some popcorn at home and watch it in the comfort of your own bed or your couch with your family and whatever. But, you know, it's crazy how theater used to be like, if you went to the theater, you were like very rich, very higher class, upper class, and now like how it's become more open to all the population. It's just so interesting. Like the history of theater itself is just, I love. Sorry, just went on a little tangent there. Anyway, actors,
our lovely actors.
Yes, Vera Farmiga, of course, as Lorraine Warren. Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren. We have Sarah Catherine Hook as Debbie Glatzel. Rari O'Connor. That probably sounds right. It sounds very Irish. As Arnie Cheyenne Johnson. Julian Hilliard as David Glatzel. John Noble as Kastner. And then Eugenie Bondurant as the occultist, which she doesn't have a name.
Yeah, I felt like maybe the reason why they did that is because I know sometimes they keep certain things secret in the cast list.
So if you were like Kastner's daughter,
then it would spoiler something, you know? So I can kind of understand why they did it that way.
Yeah, give me some info. I want to know.
So I don't have a whole lot.
That's fair.
To be honest.
It's pretty newer.
Yeah.
What's language? It's more new. Pretty recent.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to... Yeah.
You got there. There.
I did.
So this was set in 1981. And this is based on the real-life trial of Arnie Johnson.
Yes.
The opening scene was obviously, without a doubt, the very, very opening scene. When it's the individual outside the house. That is a straight shameless Exorcist reference.
Yes. Yeah. Even the angle, like the house on the corner.
Perfect. Yeah. It was 100%
Exorcist reference.
And that's part of like it. They did have some sprinkled in references and things like that. But before filming the exorcism scene, Chavez had the cast listen to the recording of David Glatzel's actual exorcism so they could capture the reality of it.
Wow.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah.
And so there's a scene like in the very beginning of the film when they like first got to the house where David's character is on a waterbed.
Yes. That scene was
It was inspired by actual events that happened to David Glatzel in real life. So when the Glatzel family moved into their home, they said that there was a bed left with a strange stain on the mattress. And that's what they believe the origin of the possession.
Okay.
So instead of it being a water bed, it was
just a regular bed.
Like a regular bed with like a stain, like a strange stain on it.
But having it be a water bed was just so fascinating because he was laying on it, you can just see the demon like
appear up and then vanish.
Ooh,
yeah. Not a fan. Not a fan.
And then it busts, and then they blamed, the damage on the floor for the water, but it was really the totem underneath the house.
Yeah. So Emerald Gordon Wolfe was the stunt double and contortionist who was actually depicting David's exorcism.
That was great. He was twisting and
so the only
insane ways
part that is CGI'd is the face.
Yeah. Even when he like his back like rolls up and he stands up like that.
Yeah.
He's like literally folded backwards.
Wait.
Oh my God.
I have about that.
Oh my God.
So it's not CGI. That's all in camera and it's not sped up. It's not sped up at all.
So he just went, whoop. He just went, just like one of those, like, people in the, oh my God, I'm sorry. Hold on.
This is wild.
Just like one of those inflatable thingies.
Wacky inflatable.
In the
arm tube, dude.
The car.
Yes.
Areas. The
wacky, wavy, inflatable arm tube guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Those guys.
That's what he reminded me. He just kind of like stood up.
So they did have CGI that they did on the face, like I said, but there was no wire work. That was all just her doing it.
That's crazy. And does she not have bones?
What's crazy is it was at that speed. There was no, like I said, there was no speeding up. She did it at that speed.
It's wild.
So The plan for that back thing, the lifting up,
Yeah.
was supposed to be done slower, like this slow rise up, and they did a couple takes like that.
No, the way she snapped up was terrifying.
And then they asked Emerald if she could do it any different. And she was like, I could do a really fast version.
Ew.
And then she did it, and you could hear the crew trying to keep their lunch in because it was just so unnerving.
Ew. Ew.
And here's the thing, what's even crazier is that Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's reactions were their honest reactions.
Oh, wow.
When they were looking at her.
Wow. I need to go back and...
Like, and that's to think, like that motion, that everything is her actually doing it at that speed.
That's wild.
And that's fucking insane.
That the human body can do that. Are we sure she's not possessed?
Contortionists, man. They're fucking like liquid. It's weird.
Yeah. And how old is she? Or was she when this movie
I have no
came out?
idea, but I would assume a similar age.
Yeah, imagine like already having your profession down at that age.
Swear.
Wow.
So I do, because I was curious and I wanted to do it like this. I did a final timeline.
Yeah.
So I did a final timeline, and I went through and I found all the years of when the movies took place. So there's only one that's got a little bit of contention as to when it actually took place, mainly because there's a continuity issue.
Yeah.
And that's the Annabelle Comes Home film. Because in that scene, when they get home and they place the box, that's from the first Conjuring film.
Yeah.
Which was technically set in 1971. Which would mean it would have had to have taken place in 1972.
Yeah.
But they say in the film and in the information for it that it took place in 1969.
Yeah.
Which there's that continuity issue. So it depends on which one we want to go with. But the timeline is 1952 is The Nun. 1952 is also Annabelle Creation.
Yeah.
And then
they're two different demons, but you know.
Yeah. Same time, same year.
Yeah. Like maybe one demon was inspired by
the other.
Valak and, you know, decided to.
And then 1956 is The Nun 2.
Yes.
And then what?
How long is that after the first one? Like 4 years?
Yeah.
5 years?
4 years. 4 years. So, and then 1967 is our Annabelle. And then there's obviously that
Annabelle Comes Home, sort of.
contention with the one. And then the first Conjuring film is 1971. And then in this setup, 1973 is our La Llorona.
Yes.
1977 is The Conjuring 2, and 1981 is The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It. That took place over 29 years.
Yep.
That's a very small time frame. So in the end of it all, roughly 30 years.
That depends on when they set the fourth movie.
Exactly.
So I'm pretty sure that's going to be like the final.
Yes.
Like, because it's called Conjuring 4, the final.
Oh, you already saw like the name about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a name.
Because I wasn't certain. Do we know like when it's going to come out or anything?
Yes, the last rites.
Oh, yes. Is there any speculation about what year it's going to come out?
Sometime in 2025.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is most things.
Okay.
At this point. Like, there's not a whole lot coming out this year. It's just because...
Nothing big. I would say there's a lot of big stuff coming out next year.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to count, like, TV shows, then you've got, like, Avatar Last Airbender, which I'm so excited for. The trailer looks so good. And then you have the next Squid Game show is coming out.
Well, we also had our Percy Jackson.
Yes. That came out this year.
Yeah, this year.
So that was really cool. And I'm expecting... I am a big Game of Thrones fan, and the House of the Dragon season 2 is coming out this summer. I'm thrilled. Me and my mom are gonna... and my dad are gonna bust it down. We love that show so much. I mean, obviously I didn't watch Game of Thrones with them when I was little because, you know...
Yeah.
I was little.
Yes.
But we all really love the show, and it's really cool to now be able to watch that with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of TV show things happening. But even Avatar
Well, I mean, okay.
That movie was
We are
like...
getting Beetlejuice
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
we're getting Beetlejuice. But even Pandora, that next movie was
Yes.
pushed to 2025
Yeah, yeah.
instead of end of this year, which, sadness.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh, yes.
You give me what you got.
I don't have a whole lot of lore because we've already talked about where Valak comes from, who Valak is.
Yeah.
Valak isn't even in this one. There wasn't really a whole lot. It's not like there was one specific...
When you're doing a series of films that incorporate certain characters and certain creatures, there's going to be more or less information based on which movies you're doing.
I just have the real events of what happened to the Glatzels and the whole murder that happened.
Oh, I totally forgot about this. But Arnie Johnson and Debbie Glatzel actually went on set.
Oh,
on the set of this.
That's cool.
And like talked about their stuff and like
even though he's a murderer,
let them know about it.
That's cool.
Well, he was only there for 5 years. And quote, quote, possession.
Mm-hmm. Quote, quote.
So.
Anywho. So again, I'm a skeptic. Anyway, so Arnie Johnson killing Bono, his boss, is the first murder that had happened in Brookfield in 193 years.
Wow.
So nobody killed anybody. It was very safe town. So it was obviously very shocking when Johnson was like, yeah, a demon made me do it. He had me kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's not something that had ever been heard in a courtroom before.
Yeah. Literally, the devil made me do it.
Yeah. So what happened with David Glatzel is he said he was tormented by an old man with big black eyes, a thin face with animal features and jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns, and hoofs. So obviously that sounds very...
Very hyper devil.
Yes.
Like classic visual of the devil.
Yeah. Arnie stayed with the Glatzels for a little bit, and he said he was hearing noises from the attic, like he was hearing strange things himself. And they finally called Ed and Lorraine Warren when David began to hiss. He was hissing, seizing, and speaking in odd voices. So that's great.
Yeah.
So the Warrens decided, and they concluded that David was, in fact, possessed by a demon. Although David had been to see many psychiatrists who all diagnosed him with just a learning disability. That didn't stop the Warrens from going to the church. And then they conducted 3 exorcisms on David, who allegedly levitated. And the Warrens even predicted that Johnson would kill someone.
Wow.
So that's crazy. Allegedly, Johnson told the demon to take him on. Therefore,
the reference in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He claimed that he peered into a well where David said he had first met the demon. Yeah. Then Johnson began to fall into trances, and he started growling and hallucinating, saying he didn't remember any of it afterwards.
Yeah.
Because, you know, possession. I don't think you're there.
Yeah.
For it. So the part in the movie is true where Johnson did work with Alan Bono in a dog kennel. However, the story of how he ended up killing him is a little different. Apparently, Debbie had brought her 9-year-old cousin, Mary, along with her. And apparently, Alan Bono grabbed Mary because he was really drunk. He grabbed her in a drunken rage.
Gotcha.
And so Debbie claimed that Arnie,
like a defense thing.
Yeah.
To protect
flew
the
into
child.
a rage himself. He started growling like an animal, trying to get Alan off of her, and ended up stabbing Alan with a 5-inch pocket knife in the stomach and in the chest.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then he was arrested 2 miles away from where all of it happened. So I don't know how he ended up.
He ran.
I guess.
That's the best thing I can think of is that he ran.
Yeah. But in the courtroom, he said he didn't remember anything because he was possessed. But Johnson was convicted of first-degree murder in the court, and only sentenced to 10 to 20 years, and then got off in 5, I believe.
Yeah, for behavior, I think. Good behavior.
Yeah. Apparently, according to Ed Warren, Arnie wasn't possessed by Satan, but he had 43 different demons within him,
Jesus.
which is crazy.
Oh yeah, because they were I remember also that they talked about that, like, Lorraine Warren had, the Warrens had kept a thing that recorded all the names of the different demons and, like, gave it to them. I think they showed up on set or whatever, and, like, something. There's something associated with that has to do with the fact that they wrote down all the names of the different demons and stuff. But yeah.
So, the Disciples of the Ram, they aren't real. They're just fabricated for the movie. But it is said that they were inspired by cults like the Manson family.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. There was a lot of cult influences during that.
Especially during the 70s, 80s time.
Yeah.
Like, that was definitely...
Oh, yeah.
It connects back to the first Annabelle movie when Janice
yes.
was a part
yes.
of
yes.
the Disciples of the Ram
yes.
cult. Like, that's where she...
It's the idea that that's
all
kind
connected.
of what connects it later
Yes.
to connect the movies
Yeah,
and everything.
to connect the movies. So, Janice, who killed her parents, who was in the cult, was a part of the Disciples of the Ram.
Yeah.
Which is not real, but, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but inspired by a lot of the cults and stuff that were popping up at the time.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I got.
So you got some 1-star reviews?
I do. These are a little long-winded. I like this first one. I don't like it, but it's just like, this was pretty poop. That's what they say.
That's it?
This was pretty poop. No, it's long-winded.
Oh, shit.
But that's the first sentence.
Oh, okay.
And it caught me off guard. Like, can you put more effort into these horror films? Pardon? This scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I was literally terrified. Then they say, Arnie kind of sucks at being mind controlled by a Satanist. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
The male lead, the husband, what his face is literally just there to question his wife every time she makes a decision and play hero twice.
Okay.
The psychic lady's thing is supposed to be some journey for answers, but I'm not sure what she learned other than Satanist bat. The plot was really stretched. This movie could have been 20 minutes long and way better. Why try and base it on a true story and just pay for decent writing, please? Honestly, I made a mistake watching it as I thought it was a different franchise.
I'm sorry.
This whole thing just confused me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you can't confuse a franchise when it literally starts with the words The Conjuring.
The Conjuring 3.
I'm sorry, but you literally... It's not even called The Conjuring 3. It's just called The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Like how did you mistake that for any... What other franchise did you think it was?
Like, for real.
Really? I knew exactly what it was when I was watching it. I knew exactly what was happening when I walked into that. When I walked my happy ass into that theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's like, no, this movie could not have been 20 minutes long. Like,
No.
I tried to shorten the summary.
Yeah.
And it was still
A decent chunk.
there's a lot going on. Like, you got 3 different murder-suicides kind of happening within one.
And 3 different storylines going on.
Like, all at once. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Really 4 if you want to count the cultist herself with her father and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a lot. But it's really good.
Yeah.
I don't remember this next one. I just liked it because he used a lot of emojis. And I never see that. Wow. What an action-packed movie. My kids loved it. Well, except for Jimmy. But it's okay. He's in therapy now. Laughy, laughy, laughy emoji. Such a feel-good fatty film. The romance was so genuine, and I feel that, from an objective perspective, this might be the best kids movie of the year. If you aren't sure whether or not to take your kids to this, I'd say do it for sure. Thumbs up. This movie has some amazing life lessons that the whole family can learn from. You might be wondering, thought bubble emoji, why I didn't give this 5 stars. They didn't actually say, the devil made me do it. Devil emojis. Very disappointing. The devil did not make anyone do anything. I want a full refund. $ tongue face emoji. The beaches of Normandy looked different. They always looked that way. Wave emoji. 10 out of 10 for kids. Too immature for adults. Shades emoji.
What the actual fuck was that review?
I'm so confused, man.
Also, not a kid's film.
No, not at all.
Not
Such
even
a
in the slightest...
feel-good fatty film.
My one kid didn't like it. He's in therapy now.
Right?
That
Jimmy,
sounds more accurate.
Jimmy. That's crazy. Poor Jimmy.
Just...
Your father's weird.
Yeah. Trying to be too hip for the time. That
With
was
all
way
the
too many
emojis.
emojis.
Yeah, it looks like one of those 2016 chain messages.
Yes.
With all the emojis in it. Like, because he used multiple. Like, it was 3 thumbs up and 3 laughy faces and 3 devils and
A little too much effort.
Yeah.
A little too much.
It was just funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't give it 5 stars just because they didn't actually say the devil made me do it.
Just because it's in the movie title does not mean you have to say it.
And then he was saying that the devil didn't actually make anyone do anything. Which, true, it was the occultist, but the whole point was that he was claiming that it was the devil because that's what they thought it was, that he was possessed.
Yeah.
Which, he wasn't possessed, but he was definitely in a trance.
Yes.
That's what that whole point was. That was from Satanist rituals. So, it's connected, obviously. But, I don't know. It was really funny.
Yeah. It's a weird one.
It was very strange. But yeah, so... Oh my goodness.
Is that it?
The Conjuring. I think we should rank the movies.
Oh, fuck shit. I don't got all the names.
I don't, so let me see. All right, you go for your ranking.
Okay. Fuck. Okay. Well, let's see. Personally, I will have to say...
I swear to God, if you say Annabelle Comes Home is your favorite,
no.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
But I would have to say that, for me, La Llorona would have to be bottom of the list.
Wow, okay.
Not for technical reasons or not because of stylistic reasons. I just think that it's the only one that feels the most out of place in the entire franchise.
That's fair. That's fair.
It should have been a standalone something that was separate. Like I said, number 9 is La Llorona.
Yeah.
I would have to put Come Home, Annabelle Comes Home at 8.
That's valid.
It's not terrible, but it's not like the best. Then I would have to say Annabelle at 7.
Okay.
Wasn't bad. I think I like the Conjuring, the straight up Conjuring films more.
Yeah.
And then 6, I would have to say, trying to think about like aspects of the film that I like. Shit. It's a lot harder when you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Because they're all really good. And I'm just trying to find like something about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the first Conjuring film, I would say, is probably in 6. And then...
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
6, yeah. And then 5, I would have to say, would be the first Nun film. 4
Interesting.
would be Annabelle Creation, because that one was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I love that one a lot.
And then I would have to say 3 is The Devil Made Me Do It. 2 would be The Conjuring 2. And I thought that The Nun 2 was dope.
Wow, okay.
I thought it was really interesting.
That's not where I would place that movie, but that's interesting.
For me, I think Conjuring 2 and The Nun 2 are interchangeable, but I think there is a place for me where The Nun 2 is a little bit more in a special spot because it is the first Conjuring film I've ever watched in theaters,
yeah.
But that's I also just think that the story and the concept and everything was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see the culmination of all of that connection.
Yeah. In the last
come into the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty decent lineup. I think we all know what my bottom one is.
Yeah, we all know that one.
Annabelle Comes Home. Last place, bro.
Yeah.
Last place. And then it's La Llorona, just because they could have done more and it doesn't really fit into the universe at all. But honorable mention.
It could have been more involved.
Yes, for sure. Then I would have to say Annabelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not terrible. It's just, it's not like the end all be all.
Actually, for me, Annabelle and The Nun 2 are interchangeable.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'd put that one next.
You didn't like The Nun 2 as much?
Not completely. I mean, it was good. I thought it was really good. It just...
You put The Nun 2 in like a 6th spot?
Yeah, it's just... There's something about it that to me just doesn't...
Doesn't do it for you?
It's not that. It does it for me. It's really good. Like that demon
But
ram.
It doesn't... The mentality of it is not as...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would say The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But honestly, all 3 of those for me are kind of interchangeable. Like, all of those spots could kind of be... meh.
Yeah.
So, Annabelle, The Nun
so your
2,
5 spot
Conjuring. Yeah.
is The Conjuring.
4. Oh, this is where it gets hard.
I know, because those last couple, you're in a similar spot to me.
Annabelle Creation,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then for me, The Nun.
Yeah.
I think The Nun was the first Conjuring movie that I watched in theaters. And it came out around my birthday. and I
Yeah.
have good memories of that for me. So I think Nun for me is number 3, and then I would say The Nun and The Conjuring 2 are probably kind of interchangeable for me, for second and third.
So which one would you put in second and third place? If you
If it was definite, then I would probably say
third would be
The Nun,
and then second would be
Conjuring 2. And then
Devil Made Me Do It.
I really love Devil Made Me Do It.
And that's because you have like that memory of
everything.
Like
it was my first experience in a theater in like 2 years, and it was like the rain and the atmosphere and just being cold. And
it was kind of like the perfect culmination of things.
I know not everybody would agree with me on this, but to me, like when I watched it for the first time, like it scared me the most out of like all of the movies.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because when I watched a lot of these, I was really young, but it genuinely scared me.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Like just because I don't think I had watched horror in a while, and obviously going back to a theater after a very long time, being one of the only people really in there.
Yeah.
And I just so happened to be put next to one person.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of had the whole theaters to ourselves, really. And it was cold and wet and dark and terrifying. And I love the Conjuring universe so much that it was really awesome. And I love their love story as well. I'm a sucker for that, totally.
Yeah.
And there's just some absolutely awesome scenes in there that I really love and appreciate. Like, I tell you about this scene all the time, the bathroom scene where where David's in the tub.
Yes.
And then you see the demon, like it blends in with the rings of the shower curtain, like the demon hand.
And then
you just see it curl up, and oh my God, it just gets me every time.
I remember I remember you telling me that you went to go see it, and then you came over to the house and you were like, I don't want to go to the bathroom that's right across the hallway from you.
Yeah. I was really scared. It genuinely freaked me out because I think you also had like black curtain rings.
Yeah.
So it just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. And then her crawling under the house, forget about it.
Yeah, no.
Forget about it.
No.
And then the morgue scene.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. I mean, the dead dude running out there was a little comical, not gonna lie.
Fuck timed lights.
Timed lights in a morgue?
Fuck that nonsense.
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
No.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then the part like underneath, like in all the in the tunnels.
Yes.
And especially when you see the occultist for like the first time in real life and not just through the eyes of Lorraine, like, and she's in the shadows and then just suddenly
like appears
and kills her dad. And it's like, what?
Yeah, really intense.
What? I don't know. I have a lot of good things. Like, I love all of these movies, obviously.
Yeah.
My favorite horror franchise ever, hands down. So I love that we got to do this, and I learned a lot about.
It was a good kickoff for the year,
for sure. Expect more.
Expect a lot of more interesting.
We've
got a lot of stuff going on, guys.
From here on out, expect longer episodes, unless we're randomly doing a one-off.
Yeah, we have 2 one-offs, but that's mainly for birthday month of a certain lady.
What lady's that?
So,
yeah.
And it works out just because of the 2-part HHN episodes that we'll be doing at the time.
Yes.
So,
yeah. It'll be an easier month.
And all of October, I'm getting my favorite franchise, so it doesn't really matter for November.
Which, if you've paid attention, then you know what it is.
Then you know what it is.
If you've listened to us and you've heard her say it, but
you
if
know
not,
what it is.
Stay tuned.
Exactly.
For another 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned and find out what we got going on. And also, obviously, our Summer of Blood is going to be fun. Lots of blood-themed things.
I like that we're starting it off in March.
Yeah, March.
As if March is summer.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, for us, April, like end of April starts off our summer.
Yeah.
So it's not that far off.
Yeah.
So
that's what happens when you are in Florida.
It gets hot.
Yes, it does.
So it's summer for us. 10 months out of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So our next episode is going to be our chit chat, our session 8. So
yeah, if the pollen has eaten my brain by then, you'll see.
Yeah, yeah. It is just kind of a little check in, letting you know what happened while we were over the thing and what's going on and some future shit that we want to talk about. But
sure.
Yeah. So obviously, like, comment, subscribe, send us an email. What would be your lineup for the Conjuring franchise. So send us an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com.
For sure.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Horror Unmasked. Listen to us on Spotify and iTunes at Horror Unmasked Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And I think with that,
There's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?